Good evening, and welcome to the Twiz County Board of Education meeting. I want to thank all of our in-person guests tonight, as well as our online community. It's my pleasure at this time to call the Twiz County Board of Education meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, April the 8th, 2025, and the time is 6:01. We're blessed tonight to have a contingent of cadets tonight to lead us in on the pledge. We have with us tonight Master Sergeant Haney, Master Sergeant Dixon, Major Nicholas, and Colonel Finn. I'm going to ask you all to come up and lead us in the pledge allegiance of the flag, and once that's done, we want to pause for a moment of silence. Let's everybody stand, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon, Chair Karstafen, Vice Chair Rouse, Board Member, Superintendent Dr. Mac Bullard, all of our stakeholders in person and virtually. It brings me great honor to present our cadets with our token of appreciation for coming this evening. So when you hear your name called, please come forward. And Dr. Bullard, if you would meet these cadets right down in the middle. Cadet Colonel Jada Finn. Cadet Major Jasmine Nicholas. Cadet Master Sergeant Alec Dixon. And last but not least, Cadet Master Sergeant Dakota Haney. Our cadets look so sharp this evening. Thank you again, cadets.
I too want to thank you. I believe you all will make some great Marines. At this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda for Tuesday, April 8th, 2025.
Second.
Okay, the motion to approve the agenda for Tuesday, April 8th, 2025 has been properly made by Ms. Blackshear and second by Ms. King. Is there any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Motion passes unanimously. Now, you've had time to review the minutes. Are there any corrections? If there are no corrections, then the minutes stand approved as distributed. Ms. Blackshear?
Thank you. I will read to you the ethics statement. In accordance with regulations set forth by the Georgia Ethics Commission, it is the duty of every board member to avoid both conflicts of interest or interests of such conflict. Does any board member have any known conflict of interest or scheduled on our proposed agenda? Seeing none, Mr. Chair, we will proceed with our agenda.
Thank you, Ms. Blackshear. Do any of the board members have any comments at this time or remarks?
I do have one.
Okay.
I have served as GSBA District Director for District 12 for 6 years, and now it's time to pass the torch. I can only do 6 years. So it will be up for election in May for any board member. I'm hoping one of my board members will come aboard and take the torch for the GSBA District Director for District 12. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for your service. Y'all board members consider that off. Yes. If there are no other comments, Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, sir, Board Chair, Vice Chair, board members, to all of our constituents that are with us. Thank you, sorry, Mr. Bass. I'll start over. Mr. Chair, Vice Chair, board members, our constituents with us in person and those that are joining us virtually, good evening. I am going to lend my time this evening to Ms. Dot Seekers and to Dr. Griffin Stewart, as we want to acknowledge our partnership with United Way, and we want to celebrate a great accomplishment of the Air Force Junior ROTC. Ms. Dot Seekers.
Good evening, Board Chair Karstarfin, Vice Chair Rouse, Dr. Bullard, Superintendent, and all of our board members. Good evening, and we welcome all of you this evening here in person, and those of you that are joining us online as well. We'd like to share some exciting news with each of you on our contributions to the United Way. But before I do want to mention our vision, which is generating excellence, one team, one goal, and our mission is to inspire, challenge, and prepare all students to compete globally. Now, as we work closely with the United Way, we do make sure that we reach out with them, and we do meet all of our strategic goals with this partnership. The first one is learning and wellness for all. The second one is excellence ahead, academics, facilities, and opportunities. The third is doing things the Twiggs way. The fourth, growing and sustaining our village. And 5, a premier people first organization. Now, I would like to tell you what we have done as far as working closely with United Way this year. But before I do, I would like to call Brandy Rozier up. She is our Vice President with United Way for Resource Development. And I'd also like to call up Amber Morris. She is the Resources Operations Director. Dr. Bullard and I work very closely with these two ladies every year as we work with our staff here in the district to donate money to the United Way. As I have mentioned before, every penny that we raise to United Way goes back to our community. So we are very proud to announce that this year, Twiggs County Public Schools raised $6,999.91 for United Way. Dr. Bullard, would you like to say a few words and come down and let's have a photo?
We're extremely proud and honored to be able to contribute back to our community through United Way. That is a wonderful partnership where our staff members, our students, our parents are able to give as little as a penny, and you see what it adds up to be. I'm going to give you 9 more pennies, so that could be an even $7,000. So we're going to have a $7,000 contribution this year, but we are very proud to be able to support our community whenever there's a need. You never know when a need comes up with a child or with a family, but we have $7,000 that we can contribute and have contributed to our community to meet that need. So thank you all for your partnership.
And I just wanted to say, too, on behalf of United Way of Central Georgia, thank you, Dr. Mac Bullard, for not only your commitment to the community and the school board, but also to serving on United Way's board. We appreciate everything you do. To the board members, thank you for supporting United Way and the work we do here. And to Ms. Shannon, thank you so much for your hard work and dedication and making sure that we have a successful campaign. I will tell you, Tweaks County is one of our favorite kickoffs. They go out in a big way. Last year we had Dr. Bullard dancing, and this past year we had him out there calling down touchdowns and throwing out football passes. But we're so very thankful for what Tweaks County does here in this community, and we're thankful to also have a part in the school system and to have our Read United program here in Twiggs County and the work that we do through that program to help kids get on grade reading level by the time they complete third grade. So thank you again for having us. Thank you for the commitment to the community. We truly appreciate you all.
Board members, I want you all to come down and get in this picture. Would you mind doing that? Okay.
Good afternoon again, Chair Starfin, Vice Chair Rouse, board members, Superintendent Dr. Mac Bullard, all of our stakeholders listening in person and virtually. It brings me great pleasure to celebrate our Air Force JROTC instructors and cadets at the Twiggs County High School. On March the 24th, a formal unit assessment was conducted at the Twiggs County High School by Robert G. Atkins, Region Supervisor for High Q Air Force Junior ROTC. Our Air Force JROTC unit was assessed on the following: compliance with public law, Department of Defense and Air Force instructions, and last but not least, the written agreement which exists between the Twiggs County High School Air Force JROTC and the Air Force. Super proud to share the results from the inspection. Your Air Force Junior ROTC unit earned and overall exceeds expectations with a corresponding number letter grade of 92.5A. This is the highest rating attainable. So let's give our cadets and instructors a round of applause. Congratulations to you. I'm reading directly from Mr. Aiken's feedback. Congratulations to you, your instructor, team, and your cadet corps for a job well done. Your team's continuing strong support of the unit has certainly contributed to its success and is greatly appreciated. I would like to also recognize the unwavering dedication of your Air Force Junior ROTC instructors achieving and exceed standards. Rating is no small feat. So let's give our instructors a round of applause. It takes a team effort and lots of hard work. Both attributes were evident throughout the visit. Lieutenant Colonel retired John Terry and Master Sergeant retired Robert Gluck are truly invested in the leadership and character development of cadets, providing an unsurpassed level of mentorship and guidance on a daily basis. Your program established a benchmark for others to follow. So at this time, if Colonel Terry and Master Sergeant Gluck will come forward, we just want to salute you for a job well done. Dr. Bullard, if you would come down. Let's give them another round of applause. These instructors are truly amazing leaders, and they lead by example. Colonel Terry, Master Sergeant Gluck, Dr. Bullock, before you sit down, please, Ms. Jenkins and Mr. Ingram, if you will come join them in a picture, because without our leadership, this wouldn't be possible. So Ms. Jenkins and Mr. Ingram, if you will come down for a picture, join them in a picture. And Ms. Denson. Ms. Denson, if you will come forward. Master Sergeant Gluck and Colonel Terry, if you would stay up, because we definitely want to recognize our cadets. It was truly an amazing day. The superintendent and cabinet members were present during the inspection. Colonel Terry, Master Sergeant Gluck, and leaders, you demonstrated our vision. Demonstrating excellence, one team, one goal, was pervasive throughout the day. I was proud to be in that gym, and I'm sure I can speak for senior cabinet members and the superintendent. It was absolutely great. And what I can say to you, it was student leadership at its finest. And I was a proud Twiggs County Cobra sitting in there. And so again, congratulations. And at this time, we're gonna recognize our students again, because we have our instructors. They have modeled the way, but they led the way, and I know that you all were additionally proud, as we were. So proud. So without further ado, Cadet Colonel Jada Finn, our 12th grader. Our 12th grader, Cadet Major Jasmine Nicholas. Our Cadet Master Sergeant, 11th grader Alec Baldwin. Alec Dixon, thinking about the actor. I'm sorry, Alec. So he is not Alec Baldwin, it's Alec Dixon. Sorry, Mr. Dixon. And last but not least, our 11th grader, Dakota Haney, Cadet Master Sergeant. Can we get one with Ms. Jenkins, Ms. Denson, and Mr. Ingram in this picture too with all cadets? Guys, come on up. I'm sorry, Alec. Okay, all cadets? Everybody. All right. Parents, thank you so much for entrusting us with these wonderful cadets. I tell you, as I get ready to close, we came back to the office and we had senior cabinet that day, Vice Chair Rouse, and we had a straight debrief from what we seen and what happens when leadership is in place and then students model the way, because it was amazing to watch our cadets. So these are just four of the leaders, but it was the leaders among leaders in that room that day. So again, congratulations to our cadets. Keep up doing a fine job, and the leadership at the middle high school continue to do the work. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sitting on the front row.
Y'all didn't read my lips. You did. All right. Y'all did great. Thank y'all.
Good job.
Board members, those are the leaders of a unit that has, I counted that day, 43. I don't know how many were absent. But there were 43 cadets in a marching procession. They had a flag corps competition where they had to be evaluated. There were 3 groups that were in sequence. They checked their collars, they checked their pins to make sure they were on straight. There were no earrings. We left there and came back here, and we talked for an hour and a half about what we saw. It was that impactful. It made me know that with highly qualified, trained professionals in front of our students, they can do anything. They got the highest award possible. And he left here saying that you all set a standard for others to follow. And we committed that in every area where our children are, that's the standard that we're reaching for. So we'll ensure that we prepare our teachers, that we bring the right professionals because if our students have the right professionals who have the right training in front of them, they perform at that level. So congratulations again to our Air Force ROTC. They did an amazing job.
Thank you, Dr. Bullock. At this time, we're going to move into our business agenda. And Dr. Bullock, district request.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, these district requests, board members, do align with our vision and our mission to generate excellence, one team, one goal, and to inspire, challenge, and prepare all of our students to compete globally. We do have 4 field trips that we'd like to get your permission. You've already given permission for our ROTC to travel to the Robins Air Force Base. That was on the 28th of March. On the 9th, the Beta Club at the high school likes your permission to travel to Marietta, Georgia, to Andretti Indoor Karting and Games. And this is a performance trip where they're going to learn about concepts of movement, force, direction, speed, shapes, etc. The program for exceptional students at the middle high school would like your approval to travel to Rigsby in Warner Robins, and this is the end of year trip for that group of students, and they'll be working on team building skills. And finally, the 5th grade students at JES would like your permission to travel to Valdosta to Wild Adventures. This is for their 5th grade week celebration field trip, and it'll be on the 9th of May. And that concludes our district requests for today.
This time I'll entertain a motion to approve the district request.
I move that motion to approve the district request.
Second. Okay, the motion to approve the district request has been properly made by Ms. Blackshear and second by Mr. Rouse. Is there any discussion? Okay, the question is on the adoption of the motion to approve the district request. All in favor, raise your hand. Okay, the motion passes unanimously. All right, next we have Mr. Austin, Senate Bill 83, Correction Action Plan.
Good evening, Board Chair, Vice Chair, Board members, Superintendent Dr. Bullock, constituents, in person and virtually. I am presenting information on Senate Bill 68, Corrective Action Plan regarding the fiscal year 22 audit. It does support our vision of generating excellence, one team, one goal, our mission to inspire, challenge, and prepare all students to compete globally. It supports strategic plan goals 1 through 5. 1, learning and wellness for all. 2, excellence ahead. 3, doing things the Twiggs way. 4, growing and sustaining our village. And lastly, a premier people first organization. What is a correct action plan? We refer to it as a CAP, corrective action plan. It's a formal response in this context to an audit finding that outlines specific steps an organization will take to address and resolve financial compliance. The CAP could and will include a clear explanation of the finding, a root cause analysis, detailed corrective measures, assigned responsibilities, timelines for implementation, a process for ongoing monitoring and evaluation. The goal of the CAP is to prevent the issue presented in the audit finding, ensure compliance, and demonstrate accountability to all stakeholders, auditors, and agencies. It serves both as a tool and roadmap for strengthening internal controls and processes. The language that was provided to us in the finding is, as stated, criteria, generally accepted accounting principles, what we refer to as GAAP, require revenues to be recognized in the accounting period in which they become measurable and available to finance expenditures of the current period. As a part of these processes, the school district should review all revenue transactions to determine reporting in the proper period. During the fiscal year 2022, the school district did not properly record, based upon GAAP, accounts receivable and unearned revenue related to grants and SPLOST revenues. During our testing of the SPLOST and grant revenues, we noted amounts were not properly stated. Audit adjustments in the general fund and capital project funds were required to properly reflect balances. What they are suggesting to us is that if we received the money in June and it was deposited in our account in June, then expenditures should have taken place in June. What happened in this context is that expenditures were, a check was written in July for expenditures that took place in June. So we was about a week or two late in reconciling and understanding that those expenditures needed to go with the revenue month it was earned in. And typically that happens and is caught during our financial review statement process. And so we had one grant that was a one-time grant from the state, and it was a unique grant. And then we had ongoing projects that was coming close to the fiscal year end. And so there was a break happening, and there was a lot of moving parts there. So it's a great learning opportunity for us to ensure that we at least give ourselves an additional 30 to 45 days prior to the end of the year close. So most districts, and what we have done in the past, is we try to stop a lot of the spending in June because we need the time to process. So in context, this is what led to this. So the consequences of the finding. So for historical context, in fiscal year 2020, fiscal year 2021, we received clean audits. In fiscal years prior to that, we had several categories when I first came to the district in 2018 that we have cleaned up, and we have sustained a great practice in place. And so we did not have to do this process in the past because this Senate bill was passed in 2020. Hence, we had clean audits in those years. So now they're requiring us to, the Department of Audits is now required to assess the financial risk level of school systems. A designation of moderate risk is assigned when school system reports financial irregularities or budget deficits for 1 or 2 consecutive years. So even if we are, which we are low risk now, prior to this finding, if we have 1 year with a finding, no matter how small, we will automatically move to moderate risk. And as a result of this, the superintendent must submit a detailed corrective action plan, which is, this is what we're discussing tonight, to the Georgia State Board of Education within 120 days of the letter. The State Board of Education will read this letter and approve it at the state level, according to Senate Bill 68. In this letter, it will outline specific changes to the district's internal control structure, aimed to reduce the risk level from moderate to low, be presented, approved, and signed by majority local board members at a regular meeting, which we're doing this tonight, and be submitted via email to a state representative. In this case, is Brittany McCarty. This plan is in addition to any corrective action submitted during the audit process. In addition, the superintendent must attend a financial workshop, which has been scheduled for June or July. I think it's June. And all of this is a requirement of the Senate bill. Last thoughts and next steps. Ensure that we're resolving this audit finding. We work with an independent CPA that's independent of our audit process, so we can have an independent voice to ensure that we're following procedures. And so internal workflows and important timelines will be revised to ensure compliance, stating what I said earlier about ensuring that we minimize spending in the month of June. Ongoing training and capacity building for the business and finance staff, started with myself. I'm already enrolled in UGA for a specific class with accounting so that I can ensure that I'm receiving best practices as well. That's on me that I'm paying for, not the school district. I want to make that clear. Focus efforts to strengthen internal controls and restore clean audit outcomes. And on tonight, the resolution before you, which you all should have a copy of the resolution, would include certain key actions that we have already stated. Your approval and signatures are required. This resolution, again, will be read at the State Board of Education meeting, and we need the board approval to accompany the resolution when I send it to the state. Board Chair, your motion is also in the presentation, which will say you are approving or you need a motion for Senate Bill 68, Corrective Action Plan for the FY22 audit. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
When, I know I've been out for a few months. When
Yeah.
did you present this, audit finding? to
This is the
board?
first time.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. We're in the fiscal year 23 audit process now. That's concluding. We finished this audit in December of last year, and it takes them a few months to process everything. And so as soon as we receive it and our deadlines, then we present it to the board for action. Yes, ma'am.
When you're saying minimizing the spending in the month of June, could you elaborate a little bit on that, on why is it so important? Are the other months or
Yeah.
not?
So it's the closeout month for us.
Yeah,
So
I know.
that's the last month of the fiscal year. And what happens with overlap, there are certain expenditures that if they're not accounted for in the right period, can cause regulation issues with the gap standard. So as another example, if we have ongoing projects, what we consider construction projects, there's a designation that says construction in progress. So we have to account for if this project is going to take us into July, August, and September, and it started in June, then we have to consider that differently on our financial statements. So that just gives us time to sit and assess all projects, all revenues, even with our tax dollars. We have 2 months of ad valorem taxes that are actually earned in August and September, or July and August, but are for June 30th in, and we have to ensure we account for it in the right period. So it's a lot of moving parts during that time. So the less spending we have, it minimizes the opportunity for things like this to happen.
So how many people on the team resolving this audit with you? Is it just the senior cabinet?
So, yeah, senior cabinet and also the business and finance staff, because if there's a specific expenditure or category that relates to a department or division, then we bring everyone in that has any knowledge of it. And so we just work through processes to ensure that we're looking through it. But the team, senior cabinet, has been very supportive and providing the insight the auditors needed. So when the auditor's on site, whatever the expenditure is, whoever was responsible for it to have the most knowledge, they are involved in that process. Yes, ma'am.
So is it that you need this signed tonight, or is it a deadline? Is it a date that we need to get this done?
So the deadline we received was April the 7th. I think that was yesterday, initially. And because of that, when I submit a corrective action plan in the audit process, this was back in December, January, typically that closes out the audit. This new process requires me to come to you all and then get a signature so we can meet the state guidelines and deadlines for being reported. So that's where the lapse came in, is that the process is typically I submit a correct action plan to the auditors, they file it, we're finished. Then they came back and said, hey, we don't see a signed board approval. And I said, okay. I called the state, they gave me the guidance, talked to Dr. Bullard, and this is why we had to come and provide this information on tonight. Yes, ma'am. So in short, we need signatures. Yes.
When did you say you received the notice?
So we received our audit in December, but we received the documentation late January, early February that we needed to provide additional steps. So the official letter is what they call a clearance letter. And we received that in late January, early February. That is the letter that they're referring to. So when I got more clarity in March from Brittany, that's when she informed me that this is the resolution that needed to be completed to complete that entire process. Because we thought we was finished with it.
So actually, what I'm saying, when did we start counting the 120 days?
It would have been in end of January, early February. Yes, sir. So that's what, 3, 4 months? So it's March, April, May, June.
So you got the results of an audit of 2022 in December 2024?
Yes, sir. So our independent auditors were behind on our audits. This particular audit had a lot of the ESSER funds and state grants. And so we had some delays with the independent audit firm completing it. But the process was ongoing for about a year and a half. And then 23 is wrapping up now, and then we're gonna go directly into 24. And that's something the state had happened before, which they get behind, and then, so it's just one of those things with the mercy of whoever audited us.
And did I understand you to say that you get tax dollars in July and August, but you have to count for spending those tax dollars in the June previous to the receiving them?
Yes, sir. That's the period that they are recognized in. They're earned in July, August, but we have to recognize them for the period of June. They're in a modified accrual is our accounting practice. So which means that we may earn dollars in a subsequent month or period, but it may be for the prior period. So there are certain rules that we have to follow with that. But we earn tax dollars every month. It just depends on when we earn them, which period they are applicable for.
So you're asking us to approve you all's action plan to address, to make sure this doesn't happen again?
I'm not asking. The state is asking per the Senate Bill 68, and they told me I got to present and ask you all to approve.
But what I'm asking
Yes, sir.
is, what's being asked
Is for you
is
to
for
sign
us
and
to
approve.
approve an action plan that you've already submitted?
I haven't submitted anything. It's not submitted until you all approve it. What I submitted was a closeout process. The letter that you all have, I sent to them, and they said that we cannot file this until we have board approval. So they will not accept it until you all approve it.
I'm not following.
I have one more question. When was the independent CPA firm done? What month that was done in?
So that person is not involved yet. This is action steps to prevent future things from happening. So we have to list plans on what we will do. So as an example, when we're closing out our fiscal year, we'll call that individual, we'll look at accounts and best practices and ensure that we're aligning to all of the generally accepted accounting principles at that time. So there's a certain place to where that CPA will come and provide expertise in that area. Plus, the individual is a former auditor, so we have an insight on practices that we need to look for. So that's why we chose to go that route, so that we can be advised if there's something that changed, if a GASB standard has changed, which is another accounting principle, we have insight on those real time.
I have a question for you, Mr. Austin. My question is kind of piggyback on what Mr. Ross asked, and just trying to get a clear explanation as we have to vote on this tonight. Could you give us just an understanding of if it was 120 days that we now have, we're late with getting it done, if so it's been April the 7th, can you give us an idea on why we didn't get it a little earlier, maybe in between? Can you just kind of explain that to me just a little bit?
Sure. So again, the process for us to complete is that the auditor asks the school district or the finance office to submit their corrective action plan to address the audit finding. That process was done in December for us. Once that process happens, then typically we're finished with corrective action plans. So when January and February came, we received the clearance letter. We also received the email saying you have not finished this process. Dr. Bullock said, well, Mr. Austin, I thought we was done with this because I signed off on everything, was looking to this. So when I called, they said, well, you have to also get the board to do this. If I would have had that context, this would have took place months ago. But the context was, now that I know, because I haven't had an audit finding in 2 years, this is a new process even for me with this. So that's why it's just not coming. Because typically, the way we operate, we give you enough time to review it, give feedback, and then approve. Obviously, their timeline looks different. The state must have a board meeting that they must review and get things done before June. I would assume that's what's happening.
This is what you sent to them already? Or this is what we're talking about tonight, this right here?
That's what we're talking about tonight, and that's was sent to the auditors at the state level. They asked me to send it ahead of time for them to review. However, it's not acceptable until it's signed.
Okay, so you sent this earlier, this same letter,
I sent it maybe 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. Yes, sir.
this letter, and then they sent it back and said it was no good without our approval.
They didn't send anything back. Brittany's recommendation was to send it to her. If there was anything in the letter that I needed to revise, she had the opportunity to before I brought it to you all. But she is saying that she cannot send this letter to the state unless it has board approval by minutes and signatures, that they can have evidence that I've completed the process according to Senate Bill 68. That was her statement.
Well, I'm gonna speak on behalf of myself.
Sure.
I don't feel comfortable in signing this because I'm just seeing this and I need a little bit more information before I can approve it. I have questions and I need to see the actual audit before I can say that I agree with this.
Fair enough. And I can ask her for an extension for the next board meeting. But they have to grant me that extension.
And who are you talking to?
Brittany McCarty. She's at the state level,
Oh, okay.
which I don't think she'll have an issue with that, but just follow my orders.
I'm in agreement with Ms. King. I think that you need to reach out to her and tell her that.
Is that normal? I mean, I'm trying to wrap my mind around this.
Yeah.
This is an audit for fiscal year 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And you got a notice in December of 2024 telling you it was a problem.
Yes. So the audit was completed in 2024.
And the 2022 audit was completed in 2024.
That was a year behind. Yes, sir.
And that's normal procedure.
It's not normal, but they got a year behind. And so we had a lot of email correspondence trying to push some situations, but they had a lot of issues they had to work through. But only thing we can do is provide all the samples. We can provide the information, invite them on site. But once it's in their hands, the timeline is pretty much on those individuals. We can't control that timeline.
Now, when you say in their hands, you're talking about?
Martin and Jenkins in this case, and in some cases it could be Department of Audits and Accounts, which is a state auditing firm. We've experienced the same with both parties.
You feel like she'll give you that extension?
Can't do nothing but ask. I
Well,
mean, I don't think she can do is say yes or no.
all right, well, I appreciate it if you ask for an
Sure can.
extension.
Sure will.
Okay. I need time to chew on this. Yeah, to,
It doesn't impact me or us in any way. It's just, it's their process, so I'm
It's
just
just
trying to
their
make sure
process,
we're in
okay.
compliance.
all right, well, thank you, Mr. Austin.
Sure. Yes, sir.
Okay, you got a budget overview?
Yes, sir, I do. So budget overview number 2. So the mission vision has already been stated. It does support all 5 of our strategic goals as well, which has been stated. To look at our budget calendar, January, February, and March, we have completed those action items. So in April, we'll continue to work through the salary schedules for staff, including athletic supplements, and seek approval. We presented the salary schedules early in the year in February. And also, we'll continue to present the FY26 budget overview, which is happening tonight. So what we'll talk about is revenue projections, expenditure projections, an overview of the SPLOST budget, projected personnel, and also allow any board feedback and next steps, because of course this is a budget that you all will approve, so your feedback is important. So I want to look at local revenue projections and state revenue projections. So local, we're looking at our ad valorem taxes, which of course is our property taxes that we collect in the district. We are anticipating 5.2 million to be collected. What we're budgeting is 5.2 million. We levy about 5.4 of that. However, we do not budget the full amount because we have fees that go to the tax commissioner office, 2.5%, and then in the event that any taxes are delinquent, then we do not want to account for those dollars because we may not get them in that fiscal year. So the title ad valorem tax, which this replaced the birthday tax as it relates to car purchases, is that any vehicle that is purchased by Tuies County, if you're a resident in Tuies County, you purchase a vehicle, that money comes back to the county and the schools as title ad valorem tax. The real estate transfer tax is a tax that is recorded with the Superior Court Office, Superior Clerk, and it happens with the sale of real estate properties and transfers, so we do receive a small portion of that. The intangible recording tax is when there's a loan that's secured by real estate, such as a mortgage, and there's a state charge, a one-time fee, and that is also divided up amongst the county and the school district as well. Other state and local sources, so if the state provides us any one-time grants and adjustments, or there any local donations or things of that nature, we have a revenue source for that as well. Those is projected very low because we do not know how much we'll receive in donations, so it's extremely conservative for that reason. Indirect costs, which is $35,000, this comes from our federal programs. Typically, Title I is one of the biggest ones we receive the dollars from. It's a percentage that's set by the state, typically 3 or 4%, and that allows us to recoup dollars for staff that supports the grant indirectly, such as business finance staff or other HR staff and other supporting staff. Projected 5.6 million is what we're looking at for our local revenue projections for the year. State revenue projections. So quality basic education, which is our state funding, our QBE funding. In our midterm of FY25, this is the amount that the state projected and provided as our midterm adjustment. Now let me provide context on a few terms. When we receive our allotment sheet or our QBE form every year, it comes in 2 formats. As an initial allotment, saying that this is what you will start your fiscal year with, and then also a midterm adjustment, meaning that something has happened for us, more revenue from the state, or there was an adjustment the state has made, and so they provide us another QBE form in March. So when I say midterm, I'm referring to the March-April period, and when I refer to initial, I'm referring to the start of the fiscal year. The midterm typically provides us the baseline and the number of funding we will receive for our start of the year. So that is why we're basing our QBE projections on the midterm, because that is historically how it has happened, and so that number was 4.8 million. We do receive the school security grant from the state. This supports salaries and benefits for our SROs, any equipment that's needed for school security related equipment and things of that nature, and support the program in its entirety. So the state does plan to fund us again for that next year. And so total, we're looking at 4.9 million in state revenue projections. And our total state and local revenue projection is 10.6 million. As we look at our expenditure projections, so in salaries, 5.5 million is projected currently with salaries, and benefits 2.9. Non-salary of things such as buying supplies, contracted services, your travel, all those utilities, which is probably about 7% of that number. Those are the things that non-salary will pertain to, which will give us a total of 10.6 million, which is the same number as the revenue to have a balanced budget. So SPLOS projections, this is the SPLOS that was approved in March of 2023. And currently we have averaged about $70,980. It is projected for fiscal year 26 of $851,760. There are types and categories that we're looking at. One, the debt payment. We do have a bond that we secured in that referendum in March of 2023. So repayment will start in FY26. So 77% of the collections will go toward debt payment. Instructional expenditures, 18% is allocated for instructional software. Business software of 3% in the software for the business department. COPS, DOG grant match, the Department of Justice, which we had meetings about that. The last couple board meetings is 15,000, and then you're looking at your total of 851,760. I will say that in June, once we look at where we end with all our SPLOS, we'll probably May, we'll look at this budget again and ensure that any cash on hand that we have this year that can help us, we'll continue to work through this. But as of right now, this is the current projection. As we're looking at personnel projections, in FY25, our current, we have 150 on staff. We are projected to have 142 on staff next year. So that's an 8 count in far as personnel reduction. And what happened and why did this happen? Through attrition meaning resignations, retirements, provides us an opportunity to look at areas where we can do things differently. We had great conversations around our master schedule, which allowed us to maximize a lot of areas there. In instruction, which is the largest part of the budget, 4.5 of that 8 number came from instruction. And you may say, well, Mr. Austin, how you get a half? And that because if you come back 49% to working in a capacity, that's when we consider it a half or a part-time position. So technology has a reduction of 1, operations 1, transportation 1.5, would provide a total of 8, which is $701,487.73. That number was initially projecting the budget to go to 11.4 million, which was not sustainable for us. So this was our way of addressing that and ensuring that our budget was not trending upward, that we have some sustainability for the next 2 or 3 years as it relates to our financial strength. So senior cabinet, school leadership, Dr. Bullard has really been hands on deck in making sure that we're addressing our fiscal responsibility and our steward needs. So our next steps is approving the salary schedules, looking at budget overview number 3, which will focus more on those non-salary things that we talked about and some other plans to address our efficiencies. Any more updates from the legislative department at the state level, they have closed out on April the 4th. So we'll continue to look and see if there's anything pertinent that we need to do to address anything in our budget. And then, of course, ongoing board feedback. So any questions, comments, or concerns?
Questions? Thank you, Mr. Austin.
Welcome.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
let me ask you, would you go back to business agenda item B? And if it's the board's pleasure to request a motion to table business agenda item B to give Mr. Austin an opportunity to reach the state to request the extension.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Bullock. This time, can I get a motion to table Senate Bill 68 Corrective Action Plan until a further date to be determined?
I move to table Senate Bill 68 for corrective action plan until further notice.
I second it.
All right, the motion to, what did we say?
Table.
To table. The motion to table Senate Bill 68 Correction Action Plan has been properly made by Ms. King and second by Mr. Butler. All in favor, raise your hand. Okay, the motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay, Miss, what you got, IEP, or what do you have for us today?
PEC budget. Good evening,
PEC budget, yeah, okay. And,
Good evening,
yeah.
Board Chairman Christopher,
Good
Vice Chair
evening.
Rouse,
Good evening.
board members, Dr. Bullock, business in person and virtually. Today I'll be talking about the FY25 PEC budget. And before I talk about our budget, I'll talk about our vision, which is generating excellence, one team, one goal, and our mission to inspire, challenge, and prepare all students to compete globally. Today we'll be addressing 3 of our strategic goals. Number 1, learning and wellness for all. Number 2, excellence ahead, academics, facilities, and opportunities. And number 3, doing things the Twiggs way. The 3 budget items we'll be discussing today: IDEA 611, Special Education Flow-Through; IDEA 619, Special Education Ages 3 through 5, and Special Education Parent Mentor. The first budget we'll discuss is the IDEA Special Education Flow-Through. So $106,446 goes for salaries for health insurance, FICA, TRS, life and dental insurance for 3 paraprofessionals. $60,830 go for partial salary, health insurance, FICA, life and dental for director of PEC services. $19,432 goes to contracted services such as occupational therapy and psychological evaluations. $12,000 goes to training for dues and fees and travel for teachers and paraprofessionals at Jeffersonville Elementary and Twiggs County Middle High School. $10,000 goes to supplies for teachers and paraprofessionals at Jeffersonville Elementary and Twiggs County Middle High School. $13,000 goes for training for speech therapists, school psychologists, parent engagement core paraprofessionals at Jeffersonville Elementary for supplies, with a total of $14,187. And the last budget we'll discuss is Special Education Parent Mentor Grant, which is a total of $15,241 for salary for our parent mentor, $3,159 for supplies for the parent mentor, with a total budget of $18,400. Any questions?
Are they, okay.
So, amount for the
Okay,
I think it's dead. Oh, you hear me?
I got this.
Okay, my question is, the amount that's given for the 3 paraprofessionals,
Yes, ma'am.
if they're out with substitutes, is that amount included in that?
If they're out with substitutes?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. Thank you.
With our with our students that are homeschooled,
Yes, ma'am.
and the other, how many actually do we have that you go out to for homeschool and all of that?
For our homeschool service right now, we have 3. 3, yes, ma'am.
And you said homebound too?
Homebound too, yes, ma'am. So we have several students who are homebound, so it's at elementary level. So we have, they go serve them twice a week.
Other questions? Thank you. You got what, the athletic,
Athletic updates, yes, sir.
okay.
So protocol has already been established, but I'll make sure we do it again. Mr. Kostoffen, again, thank you for allowing me to be here today. Vice Chair Rouse, board members, Dr. Bullock, business in person and virtually. So today we're going to talk about athletic budget and athletic updates. Not budget, just updates. I do apologize. We'll talk about the vision. First of all, generating excellence, one team, one goal. Our mission to inspire, challenge, and prepare all students to compete globally. And the two strategic goals we'll talk about today, growing and sustaining our village and premier people organization. Twiz County Sports right now, we offer 5 sports: football, basketball, track, baseball, and softball. First thing we'll discuss is football. Football this year, we had a 20% increase in win totals. They average about 25 athletes in after-school workout programs. And we have an upgrade in the weight room. And so right now, our whole entire football staff is planning to come back. Boys basketball. We had 3 consecutive years of qualifying for the state playoffs. 23-24 region champion. 1,000-point scorer was Daniel Pitts. And again, the entire basketball staff is planning to come back again for the 25-26 school year. Girls basketball. All region first team was Jemiah Glover. All region second team was Frazier Young. They're going to return 3 starters for next year. And again, the coaching staff is coming back. Softball. We completed an entire season. All region first team, Jemiah Glover. The softball coach is not returning, but she will be coaching another sport. Track. We have 60 athletes out there track right now. Mr. Ingram went through and surveyed the young ladies, and they elected this year for the upcoming year to play flag football. Now, so our flag football will replace softball for this upcoming year because flag football is in the fall. Doing flag football is 7 players on the field for each team. And we're looking for funding right now with that. The Arthur Blanks Foundation, they offer a scholarship, a grant now. Once you start out the program, they'll give you $10,000 to actually start. Sorry, let me take this off. They give you $10,000 to actually start the program up. And that buys you supplies, uniforms, and everything else. Then after that year, you apply for it every year, and it allows you to get $5,000 additional dollars. So that's one thing they're pushing, and we've already been approved by the GHSA. And one of the things I did point out, I know I kept saying coaches are returning. This is the first time in a while we had an entire staff coming back. Especially, and that's a great thing because you have the leaders coming back. As more kids start understanding who you're out there with, and they start believing more into it, and I think our programs will continue to grow. Any questions?
You replacing the softball with flag football?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how many counties in this area have flag football?
Well, in our area itself, we'll be in the area, not in the region. So our area will be in the region with the guys say Washington County, Claxton, Metter, ECI, and Swainsboro. But why they set up that way is because when they don't want to put you in, just say, for instance, in a region with one of the schools and one of Robbins who's been doing flag football for 10 years, and they beating our girls 40-0. So they kind of pair you up with programs just starting. Like Washington, like example, Washington County just started their program 2 years ago. ECI just started last year. So it kind of makes it more competitive and give you a better playing field.
You said softball coach, she's not gonna have a softball team. You said she's not returning. And then you say she be coaching another sport.
She's gonna move on to help with flag football. Yes, sir.
She's not leaving.
No, she's not leaving. No, sir. Yeah, okay, I got you. Yes, no, she's not leaving. She's just moving over to help over the other side.
Flag football. Are we getting a pickleball team? No, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Um, wait a minute. You said you had 60 people out for track?
Yes, sir. Yes, great numbers out there and everything. Now, that's including middle school and high school together.
Right.
But for high school itself, it's still about 30. That's a great number. And, you know, we had to buy the uniforms, but I feel good about buying uniforms for that numbers. So.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about our first track meet?
Well, our first track meet, we had a middle school great participation. It was packed out there. People were just, you know, of course, Ms. Jenkins brought the concession stand, and they sold out of everything over there. And of course, the people just, I mean, the kids did a great job. And high schools came in from Macon, no issues out there at all. Then hopefully next year, you know, we were scheduled to have one for this Wednesday coming up, Thursday. But because they're doing the Alvin Copeland Invitational, the Macon schools who were scheduled to come here, they elected to say, nah, we're going to wait to go there on Saturday. And which is understandable.
So the invitation was on Thursday?
No, we were scheduled to have a regular meet, but the two schools that were coming from Bibb County, they elected not to come here for this Thursday. Instead, they
To
wanted
prepare for the Saturday
for Saturday's
tournament?
meet. Yes, sir.
Got you. Mhm. All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Howell.
Yes, sir.
Mhm. Well, that concludes our, well, at this time, we want to, we're going to move to our executive session, which deals with personnel matters, future acquisitions of property, or pending or potential litigation, as well as school safety and cybersecurity. Can I get a motion to move into executive session at this time? Okay. The motion to move into executive session has been properly made by Ms. King and second by Mr. Rouse. Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. Okay. At this time, I want to thank each one of you for being here in the audience today, and at this time, we'll be going into executive session. Of course, you're welcome to hang around till we come back out. But again, thank you for being here tonight. All right, at this time, can I get a motion to return from executive session?
So move.
Second.
Okay, the motion to return from executive session has been properly made by Ms. Blackshear and second by Mr. Rouse. Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, at this time, need to get a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation for resignations and transfers. 3365 and 3310. Can I get a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendations for resignations and transfers?
I make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay, the motion has been properly made by Mr. Rouse and second by Ms. Blackshear to approve the superintendent's recommendation for renewals and transfers. Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. Okay, motion passes unanimously. Wow. Is there any other business?
Mr. Chair, we have exhausted our agenda for the evening.
Okay, then, well, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Well, thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, the motion to adjourn has been properly made by Ms. Blackshear and second by Mr. Butler. Is there any discussion? Well, all in favor, raise your hand. This meeting is adjourned.